Hello, dear friends. Welcome. This is the beginning of our webinar called How to Become a Top 1% Astrologer and also be able to make deep, impressive, and accurate and meaningful readings. Hello, hello. So you can let me know where you are joining us from. And we will get started in a moment. I will be able to see your comments also. Let me see. I want to bring also your comments on my phone so that I can read them while I'm presenting to you the presentation, but let's see how we do that. Okay. I found the live. Presenting to you the presentation. Okay, muted. So we are ready to begin. Hello, hello. I will share my presentation so that everything will be clear and punctual and accurate, Capricorn style. Okay. So again, our main topic for today is how to become a top 1% astrologer. And that's not an exaggeration. That's exactly what I want to demonstrate to you, how this works. And today, specifically, we will discuss the golden principles you should rely on if you want to make really accurate readings. Some of the most fatal mistakes that can spoil your reading and interpretation and how you can avoid them. Concrete advices for beginners or more experienced astrologers. Of course, it would depend where are you on your journey. Are you just getting started? Are you just an enthusiast, or do you already have an experience, or maybe you want to be a professional astrologer, or you already are, but you want to improve your skills? I will share with you the list with the most important indications, which if you learn to use properly, they will guarantee accurate readings and the ability not to lose yourself in tons of stuff, and at the same time be able to really get to the point of whatever question you want to explore in the chart. We will also talk about the most important predictive techniques that you can use and how to prioritize them depending on the focus, depending on what you want to explore for how long, and so on. Also, today is just the beginning. So we will have another 5 free classes, and you are all invited to join me here on AstroLada YouTube channel. And we will discuss all of those topics. So the different spiritual levels of development. This is one of the, well, I can say the most interesting concept in my opinion, and the one which can really help you to stand out and to understand how to read the chart in a really deep and meaningful way. We will talk about the past. So how you can explore prenatal new moons, past life charts, in order to see something that may not be so obvious from the natal chart. Just a very quick example about how past life chart may work like. In my case, for example, Uranus is exactly on the ascendant of my past life chart. In my natal chart, it's just in 6th house. And yes, it has aspects with many planets, but based on the natal chart, you wouldn't say like, oh, that's, the most important planet in your chart. You wouldn't say that. But when you calculate past life chart and you see, okay, it's exactly on the ascendant, then it's showing you that, okay, Uranus has played a major role in the past. For me, that's my previous path with astrology. And you can, in other words, those charts can allow you to see deeper things that may not be so obvious in the natal chart. And I will show you how you can calculate those and, of course, how you can use them. Another day, so on the 28th of November, we will talk about long-term prediction in terms of one concrete life area: business, career, relationships, spiritual growth, whatever that might be. So how you can approach this if you want to see the long-term tendencies related to one particular life area. I will also demonstrate to you how you can make a 1-year prediction and see the main focus is what's the most important for in someone's life overall. So considering all life areas, not just focusing on one particular. And we will talk about also the path of development and growth and progress, which for me is extremely interesting. And that's how you raise your level and how you can use astrology, not just to see how things are, but also how you can develop from there, like how you can expand from there. So it's extremely interesting. Stay until the end, because also at the end, I will share with you an announcement about a brand new course, which is starting during December. And this course will be unique because it will combine many different things. It will be very flexible for you. And also it will provide opportunities to potentially work and succeed as an astrologer and receive support and opportunities again. But more on that at the end of our webinar. And last thing, I will also share with you how you can get a free reading live with me. So stay until the end to learn all about that. Very quickly, who am I? My name is Marina Stoichkova. I'm a certified astrologer. I have 10-year experience. We've been working with Lada for, I forget it every time. I think it was 8 years so far. I also have a master's in psychology. I'm also a GSR Expert Pro. This is a method which works with your subconscious mind and really allows to achieve the deepest transformation and changes in your life. And in combination with astrology, it's just a miracle. My social education before that was in the area of ecology, biochemistry, healthcare management. I also have master's degrees in those areas. I'm a certified coach as well with the Tony Robbins Academy. I have also tons of other certifications, qualifications, including EFT, matrix reimprinting, Bach flower therapy, different coaching modalities, group, energy coaching, you name it. So I've been in this for quite a while. And yeah, I can say that I have lots of things to share with you. But the most important for me, my biggest passion remains astrology. So I love all the healing modalities. For example, GSR, it really changes your life. It's completely amazing. But I know that in my heart and in my soul, I will always be an astrologer. So for me, that's extremely important. So let's get started with some of the golden principles you need to follow if you want to make really accurate readings. And the first one, my friends, is the simplest, from another side, maybe the most complicated, and I can say definitely the most important one. And it says that you need to love, or you would even need to fall in love with astrology. If you want to go deeper, if you want to be able to understand yourself, your chart, to be a good astrologer for others, to turn this into a career, to grow your career, you need to be in love with astrology. In astrology language, it also means fifth house. This is our passion. This is what we love. This is where we are ready to invest ourselves completely. So it may seem simple for some of us, but I can guarantee you that this is the most important. The more love you put into this, the better you will be. So always bring your love for astrology. The other very basic principle is that you need love, you need the commitment, the desire, and then you also need a very good preparation. You need to have a very good foundation in terms of theory, knowledge, and not to get this randomly from 100 places. This one says that, or another one is telling you this, or to turn everything into a soup, but to commit to one system. This is bringing incredible benefits. And you can make your own choice. Of course, there are different schools, there are different academies, there are different approaches. So it's a matter of choice. But when you commit to a particular system, which is teaching you, this is how we approach things, this is how we do things, it gives you incredible foundation. In astrology words, that's Saturn. We astrologers usually have a very strong Uranus. And as it's a great benefit from one side, but the tricky part is that Uranus doesn't necessarily like the discipline, doesn't like things to be organized or structured and so on. But if you want to be really good in astrology, you need to add also Saturn. So on top of your Uranus desire to explore things, to understand the extraordinary, to be exceptional, to do things in a unique way, you also need this very practical, grounded perspective, system and structure that Saturn is providing. So don't be afraid of this. Every science needs Saturn, and astrology is a science. So if you want to succeed, my recommendation is find the system which resonates with you, which you like, and commit to this. One of the greatest benefits is that it really gives you confidence, because you learn that you can rely on this. You are not all alone floating, in the space. You have this foundation, and I would say even support, because you get the flow of the system. And the other thing, a teacher. This is pretty much the same as also committing to a system. Why you need a teacher? Because the teacher is always giving you their flow. And when you are doing something on the flow of someone else who is more advanced, more experienced, is ahead of you, you are moving and developing much faster. So this is something that I'm absolutely sure. I have seen many people who have studied astrology on their own, sometimes literally for decades. And the moment that they commit to a teacher or a school, they have much faster progress. And that's not a coincidence. So my recommendation, find a good teacher for yourself. Something more concrete. In astrology, you should never make conclusions, generalizations based on only one principle. Based on only one indication. Here we have the principle called the 3 indications rule. So this is actually really important. And I have seen many people with experience who miss this. If you want to make sure that what you are seeing and what you are saying is really not just a maybe or could be, but it's really like a theme in someone's life, you need to find 3 different indications that would point the same thing. it could be about anything. For example, that someone is a creative person, or someone would like to travel, or I don't know, someone would like to have wants to grow profession, or wants to be an astrologer, whatever it might be. So if you want to make sure that something, again, is like a real topic theme in someone's life, you need to always find at least 3 indications, different indications. Another thing, also like a general principle, start with the general picture, with the big picture. And this is basically, I would say, the biggest challenge for many people, that they jump straight into some kind of minor details, or even if they are not minor, they are out of the context of the whole chart. So before you get to the smaller details, you should always consider first the big picture. And this is something that I'm actually also teaching, and we will explore in our training, in our course, how to get the whole idea, or the energy, how to grasp the energy of the chart. And then, of course, you add the details and all the other stuff which are painting the full picture. But first, always start with the general things. Another principle which can also explain why sometimes, for example, you understand how things work, another time it's strange or unexpected, why sometimes it could be unpredictable, because the planets may work on different levels and they have different impact on each level. Generally, we have 3 major levels. So the material, this is the external world. We have the emotional experiences, the inner world, and also the spiritual or the mental level. And the planets may work in completely different ways, depending on which level they are expressed. A very quick example. Let's take Uranus. On a very material level, if someone uses Uranus only on a material level, Uranus can have a pretty destructive influence, actually. It may bring, desire for constant changes, or lack of commitment, or you go in one direction, then you go in another direction, like you are here and there, or you even may destroy some of the things that you create. If we use Uranus only on a material level, that's something we can expect. But if Uranus is working on an emotional level, the influence is different. This can either bring some kind of desire for something extraordinary, desire for freedom also, some kind of very romantic, idealistic feelings, and potentially even this could be a path of growth. And for Uranus in particular, the 3rd level, the spiritual or the mental level, is basically the most beneficial. That's where Uranus can really shine, can bring the best potential. On this level, Uranus can bring insights, incredible visions, people who invent things, people who are a source of innovation and change. In some cases, this can make the person a genius. Of course, I'm not saying everyone. Few people are genius, but if they are, then they are using Uranus on this 3rd spiritual level for sure. So for each of the planets, we can explore this, how they would work if the person is using them only on a material level, or an emotional, or on a spiritual level. And again, the influence will be completely different. And that, my friends, applies both to the natal chart reading and also to prediction, if you want to see things in prediction. Another thing, which is kind of related to the previous point, the level of development of the person. In other words, how evolved someone is, how evolved the soul is, or you may explore this from different angles. But this plays a major role in terms of how the whole chart would work. This is somehow also related to if the person is living mostly on a material level, or maybe they have some kind of different goals, or maybe someone is already on a creative level, or so on. So the level of spiritual evolutionary development plays a huge role. And that's one of the main things which define how the chart would work. So in other words, if you want to be able to read the chart really accurately, you need to be able to evaluate someone's level of development. And I will be honest with you guys, this is not a simple task. This is not something that, you know, I can teach you in 30 minutes and you are ready to go. This is something that you need to, of course, you need the information and the knowledge, but you need to practice, you need to explore also. And it takes time, because obviously it's not a simple thing. But the more you are able to do it, the better you will understand how everything works in someone's chart. And just one general also insight for you. The more materialistic someone is, the easier will be to understand their chart, to understand how things will work in their life, and also to make a prediction. The more someone is able to live or work on the higher levels, the more choices they have also. So sometimes it could be more difficult also to understand exactly how it would work in their case. So more evolved people are more difficult to read and also to make a prediction for them. But a general recommendation here is always keep contact with the person. So don't be afraid to ask questions, especially we will discuss this during the day when we talk about the spiritual levels of development. I hope I'm not mistaken. I think it's our next topic for tomorrow. But definitely during one of those days, we will discuss those spiritual levels, and I will give you also more insights on that. Now, which are some of the most fatal mistakes that can literally spoil your reading and will not make you look like a good astrologer? The first thing is to be over-optimistic. I am almost sure that you have all have experienced or read or seen those very nice, very fluffy interpretations. Sorry, there is a fly around me. Which are, promising, empty, but really nice stuff. That's never a good idea. If you want to be a good astrologer for yourself or for other people, and I have it somewhere, maybe it's on another slide, one of the most important things is to be focused, committed, and I would say maybe in love is a strong word, but why not? To be in love with the truth, to seek the truth. So not how you want things to be, not like those empty promises and big phrases. If you follow this direction, your interpretations will be flat and they will not resonate with the person and they will not really help them, and it's not beneficial for anyone. So try to avoid the over-optimistic promises and empty phrases. Also avoid the opposite. Avoid those negative, dark things. Like my personal and professional perspective is look at things realistically. So evaluate each side. So be open for the possible challenges. We shouldn't close our eyes for this. Be very open to the possible benefits and see what are your options there. But again, empty promises out of nowhere or fearful, fatalistic, scary sentences, that's never, ever helpful. Another fatal mistake is if you are unable to prioritize things. So to see the hierarchy. And again, this is something that you learn, and especially when you commit to certain system, you are not just following cookbook interpretations. That's how you make your readings more accurate and deeper. So to be able to see the hierarchy, which are the most significant indications, it's like, which is the most important layer, then what comes next, and what goes deeper, and so on, and what is the most superficial level. When you can do that, you are not getting lost, and you will have a structure, basically. Again, Saturn. So just another share that actually I have a stellium in Capricorn. I have one in Capricorn and one in Pisces. So that's like my general focus for my work with clients, with students, to be able to take the Pisces, Neptunian inspiration and knowledge, but also to link it to something practical and concrete, and to be realistic. And this is also the system that Capricorn provides. What can be also a fatal mistake if you try to use too many indications? What do I mean here? You are immediately adding asteroids, fixed stars, Arabic points, midpoints, and tons of other stuff. If you are trying to add this, especially in the beginning, I can almost guarantee you that you will get lost in all of this information. This is not just for the beginners. If you can properly read the 10 planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, plus the lunar nodes, if you can interpret that, you will see everything you need to see. Because again, my friends, don't forget, if something is a real topic, characteristic, or whatever, describes someone's life, it will not be in only one indication. You will need at least 3 of those. And you will definitely find this by using the main parts of the chart. So don't lose yourself in too much unnecessary information. I see many, many people do this, and this is not going to work. For example, asteroids, let's take Chiron. Even Chiron, which is like very popular, many astrologers use it. Chiron is not a planet. Chiron has a different status. You can't put Chiron next to the other planets. It has a different level of importance. So the important topics you will be able to find by using the planets from our solar system, plus Pluto, which technically is no longer in our system, but we use it for sure. So don't think that your interpretation will be flat or it won't be enough. It will be. And actually, when you focus on this foundation, you will find all you need. And one of also the fatal mistakes is if you are not considering someone's spiritual level of development. I will give you here a very concrete example. Let's take 5th house. Let's say, very hypothetically, that someone has a really accentuated 5th house. It could be a stellium there. It could be the sun with other planets. Something is showing you that you can see, okay, this person has a really strong 5th house. This may mean many, many different things depending on the level of development. On the most basic level, this would be someone who is just wanting to have fun in life, wants to go to parties, is always interested in having fun, and life is just a game for them. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but this is just how it can work on a certain level. On another level, this could be a gambler. People who have problems with gambling, they have strong fifth house. On another level, this could be an investor. People who invest, they also need a strong fifth house, plus usually 8. And on the highest level, those are people who are creators, who are passionate about something unique, something which is their own, and literally want to create. It could be in art, but not only. It could be in any area. You might be a creator in science, in business, in everything. So if you are not considering someone's level of development, you can make the mistake, okay, is this a gambler or someone who just wants to have fun in life? Or is this someone who is striving to create something? I think you would agree that those are very different interpretations. And basically, for many things in the chart, they will work differently depending on the level of development. So if you learn how to do this, your interpretations will be much deeper. Moving on. Now, a few advices for total beginners or people who are just considering if they want to learn astrology, if this is for them. You need to focus on 2 main things if you want to be a really good astrologer. One is you need to learn to think. This is something I keep repeating, and I will keep sharing it, something that my own teacher used to say, and he's still saying this. I can give you all the information, all the knowledge that I have. I can share my whole experience, but I cannot save you the effort of thinking. So one of the most important tasks for the astrology student or for someone who wants to be or grow as an astrologer is you need to learn to think in this way as an astrologer. You need to develop your mind. And yes, first of all, it requires to be very well prepared in terms of the technical stuff. And this, my friends, honestly, for me, is very simple. Yes, there is a lot of information. Astrology includes lots of information technically, but it's not something that you can't learn. You really can. So that's one thing. You need to have a very good foundation in terms of technical stuff, to know things very well, to learn to think, which means how you use this, how you put this together, how different things affect each other. And that's like one type of work. And the other type of work is the more intuitive, which is you need to learn also to sense. And this happens with time. So this isn't something that will happen right away, even if you have a gift for that. So obviously here we are all different. We are on different levels of our development. We have different skills and potential. So someone may have this strong ability to sense things. For others, it may take more time. But if you want to go deeper in astrology, you need to learn to have this connection, basically. You need to be like a bridge between the sky, the astral world, and the material world and the earth. But again, if you want to be astrologer and not a psychic, you need also to rely on the technical things. So for me, that's the recipe. The thinking and the sensing. You need both of those. Something very simple. You need love, patience, and work. So learning astrology is also in a way like learning anything else. It will take you time. If you want to learn to play the piano, if you, want to learn to drive a car or swim or anything at all, it takes time. So don't expect that it will happen like this. Astrology takes time, and you can always go deeper and deeper, but the adventure is incredible. And for me, it's totally worth it. So yes, you need some Saturn, you need some patience and work. Another thing is that astrology will change your life. If you study astrology, especially if you are part of a group, community, some kind of circle, where you have a leader and you have also other people to share the experience with, this changes your life. This is the Uranus energy. And when someone goes really deep into this, so again, you join a program, a school, or you find a teacher, your life starts to change. Every area of your life will change because this is the Uranus energy. And the Uranus energy is about bringing new things, about evolving. And astrology literally develops your thinking and your mind. So if you want to develop spiritually, to grow, this is one of the best ways. It's a long topic, but shortly, that's the essence. What did I want to share also here? So the group, also one more thing about Uranus. Uranus is a very optimistic planet. So the more you study astrology, especially if you're part of a group or a community, the less depression you will have, the less fears you will have, all of those, things just go away, because Uranus is bringing you a different type of energy. It's optimism. It's something that makes you want to grow, to move forward, to follow your own future. So that's, I think, a great benefit. As I said, you definitely learn better when you're part of a group, and when you are committed to find the truth. And also, the more prepared you are for the truth. Honesty. If you don't want to see some negative sides or things that you wouldn't be proud of, or this basically makes you avoid yourself. It will not help. But if you really want to see how things are, to understand yourself, to learn how to understand other people, astrology is your way. A few advices for more experienced astrologers or people who have already studied astrology, or maybe are even professional astrologers already. One of the main questions, and actually those things apply also to beginner astrologers, so we don't need to cut a line or something. One of the most interesting questions is about our personal will. So how much is predefined by our chart, by our prediction, by ourselves, and all of that? Again, I will share something that one of the spiritual teachers I'm following is suggesting, and for me it really resonates and makes sense. 50% is predefined. In other words, 50% is what your chart is showing. 25% depends on the environment. And this is something we shouldn't forget. By environment, we mean the time when we are living. It's one thing if you are interpreting your great-grandmother's chart. It's another thing if you are interpreting your 10-year-old daughter's chart. They have lived in different times. So this is something essential. Always keep this in mind. The time, the culture, the environment, the family atmosphere. So what happens around us? This is also 25%. And another 25%, the last one, this is about our choices. And another thing that my teacher also is saying in his books is that those 25% that are defined by your choices and willpower, they can turn everything else around. So if you learn this, first, if you understand the 50% very well, if you understand, okay, this is me, this is my chart, those are my options, those are my characteristics, those are my potential challenges, and all of those things, you can learn to make choices, and you can learn also to change some things. So yes, I do believe that there are certain experiences we are supposed to get through. This is actually my favorite part and this is what we will do in depth during the training that starts in December, to learn to see the whole life flow, to see it as a dynamic, how it develops. Because maybe I will talk more about this during one of our days about prediction. In prediction, you can see the quality, the type of experience someone is supposed to go through. But then we can make choices that may change the form. In other words, how it will manifest in reality in terms of what kind of events so this is something that we can learn to control. We can learn to navigate. But overall, the chart may show you the basic line or the general flow of our experience. And yes, especially the more aware we are, the more evolved we are, the more choices we can make and the more flexible we can be. And also, I will go even deeper, just as a quick share, that my perspective is that also it varies from a person to a person. For some people, it seems like things are more strict, more predefined also, and others seem to have more choices. So, and there are ways we can explore this and how you can see this in the chart. A very important idea about the plateau, that this is something you will face with occasionally, and it's normal and it's a good indication. Usually, how does it work? For most of us, when we start learning astrology, we're like, oh my God, I don't get it. It's too much. Where do I look? What does it mean? I don't understand it. I'm lost, and all of this. Then, if you are interested, if you work, if you learn, at a certain point, you start to get things. Oh, yes, of course, that's how it works. Oh, I see this. Oh, exactly how I imagine it. So you can make sense. You can basically get some interesting insights from the chart. Then you keep learning and growing, and then you hit another plateau. And again, but I don't understand it again. It's like not working, something is missing. Like, why can I see the connections? And those are normal levels. So when you go deeper into your knowledge and understanding, especially in astrology, you hit those. They are not exactly blocks, but even though sometimes it may feel like this. Like, I used to understand it, and now I can see even more things, and how do I put all of them together? So this is part of the process, and you should not give up. All you need to do is keep learning, keep exploring. It will change, it will get better. But this is a process. So the deeper you go, the more you can face like, okay, but now I see more things, and it takes time to learn to put them together as well. It's a very interesting process. A few other recommendations. If you want to be a good astrologer, psychology can really help you, especially the Jung's psychology. Carl Jung has also been an astrologer, our colleague. So his work for me is incredible. And we will explore this. We will add some of his principles in our upcoming training as well. And I highly recommend you to learn about the mask, the persona, the anima and the animus, the shadow, the process of individuation, and other things, even the psychological types that he explores. We can link them to astrology. So psychology can really help you if you want to understand more things. And another thing is mythology. Yes, all of those stories. Saturn's story with his son Uranus, the myth about Persephone and Hades, which is Pluto. So mythology also helps you to understand better the planets and how things work and some certain archetypical stories. So very, very helpful. And the last, I would say the deepest one, the general spiritual principles. You may call this esoteric principles, occult principles, not important how we will call them. This is really, really helpful. It's again helping you understand the spiritual level of development of someone, which then allows you to understand how their chart will work in their case. For example, one of those perspectives is to explore how developed is the mind, the heart, and the willpower, and what one needs to develop more, or what is overdeveloped or undeveloped, and so on. Like, there are many principles, it's not one, but the more you understand them, also the deeper your reading will be. Okay, now, the list of indications which, if you put all of this together, your interpretation will be accurate and will make sense and will be helpful. The first thing, as foundational and simple as it may sound, is about the elements and the modalities. If you really get this, what are the different qualities? What is this energy like? The different elements and modalities? This is between 30 and 50%, literally. It helps you to get the person, and then it helps you to understand and learn the other things. So elements and modalities are extremely important and foundational. The next thing is to be able to evaluate the whole chart without looking into, oh, here we have Mercury squaring Saturn or whatever, Neptune in conjunction with Jupiter, or before looking into the details, just looking at the chart. Usually in Western astrology, we use the wheel, the circle. How does this chart look like? This is also about developing the sense, by the way. And with time, you will be able, and this is foundational also, this is one of the keys also to understand someone's level of development. How does the chart look like? Does it look like it's structured, or it's chaotic, or maybe it's only on one side, or it's spread all over, or whatever the situation might be? To learn to sense this and to make some conclusions, because this literally, like the picture of the chart, can tell you so much. So one is visually being able to interpret, to sense the chart, and then just technically also to define which is this pattern, astrology pattern. In other words, this could be a bundle, this could be a locomotive, this could be a seesaw. Like, there are different astrology patterns, and this is also foundational. And in my experience, many astrologers skip this step. They don't focus on that, and you are missing if you do that. The next thing is the aspect configurations. And here I don't mean singular aspects, Venus conjunction with Saturn. No, before you get to this level, you need to see the general configurations. Aspect configuration, it means at least 3 planets which are connected together. It could be, for example, a grand trine, it could be Tau square, it could be grand cross, like we have different variations. Those things are extremely important also for someone's potential. And that's how you understand more than just the cookbook interpretations. Again, this is a long topic, but you can explore it. So aspect configurations, also foundational. Chain of dispositions, it means the rulerships of the planets. For example, The moon is in Cancer, so it means that it's under the rulership of the sun. The other way around. So the sun is in Cancer, so the sun is under the rulership of the moon. Then you check, okay, but where is the moon? Let's say the moon is in Taurus. Like, you follow the rulership, and then you can have either one chain of disposition, or sometimes there could be a few. And based on this, we can explore the inner dynamic of the energy. And also, it's important for someone's motivation. So how things work, what is the triggering mechanism, in which direction the energy is spreading. So the chain of dispositions is really interesting. Lunar phase, I won't go into details, but this is also one of the things I highly recommend you explore. Speed and direction of planets. Direction, it could be direct, retrograde, or stationary. This is something that some people miss, and you're really missing out on important information. Stationary planets play a huge role. They are much more important than retrograde planets. And speed of planets. So it's one thing if you have a fast moon or a slow moon. It's one thing if your Mercury is fast or slow. This also changes things drastically. Morning, evening planets, this is something that applies to Venus and Mercury. Also interesting to consider. Then the more simpler things, or it's not that they're simpler, but I think they are more like we are aware of those. Planets in signs, the aspect between the planets. But here, see that on this level, we get to the aspects between the planets, not right away. First, you need to see the whole picture. You need to see the pattern. You need to see the aspect configurations, and only then it would make sense to explore the individual aspects. In other words, it would be one thing if, let me just come up with an example. If, let's say, you have an opposition between the moon and Saturn, it's one thing if they're just on their own, or let's say you also have a Tau square with Mars, or with Pluto, or with Uranus. The interpretation will be different. So aspect configurations, don't miss to look at them. Houses, everything about the houses. So the sign on the cusp, the planets there, also the ruler of one house in another house, all of those connections also we should be able to put together. And generally, to define the status and the importance of each planet. So you may evaluate and see, okay, in this chart, let's say I will give example with myself. I have a stellium including Neptune. So my sun is in conjunction with Mercury and Neptune. And I also have a stellium in Pisces, which is under the rulership of Neptune. So obviously this Neptune will play a huge role in the chart. It's a part of a stellium with the sun, and it's a ruler of a whole stellium, another one. So Neptune, always a big player for me. And in this way, you can evaluate, and you may say, okay, in this chart, let's say the sun and Mars play a major role. And this is also a woman, for example. So she will be very active. She might be very competitive and so on. Or it's another thing if you see a man with a really strong Venus and moon. This will be a more sensitive man, something which may not be so traditionally typical. So to be able to evaluate the status, the significance, the importance of the planets. And just one more clarification here. You can evaluate the planets as strong or weak, very generally speaking, but also accentuated and not accentuated. Because what may happen sometimes is that you may have a weak planet, but it might be very accentuated. And those would be different, it would bring different things. So strong, weak, but also accentuated and not so accentuated. And when you do this, by the way, this is incredibly helpful also for a prediction if you want to make predictions. And generally, of course, which are the accentuated houses, if there are any. And usually we can find in most charts, like which are the most accentuated houses. Okay, the next part, this is the last part, I believe, the predictive techniques. Which predictive techniques you should use? So in my experience, if you use those 4 predictive techniques, you will be able to find everything you need, and it's more than enough. I'm talking about usual, traditional transits. I think every astrologer uses them. Another thing is secondary progressions, solar return charts, and solar arc directions. The solar arc directions I'm putting as last because they're trickier. For them, you need to have a really accurate time of birth. So if you're not so sure, solar arc directions you may skip. But those 3 methods, transits, solar return charts, and especially my favorite, the secondary progressions, you can find so much information that it will be more than enough. A few recommendations. So here I have written general transits and transits to natal planets. What do I mean here? General transits, I mean just to observe and to know what is currently happening in the sky, and to compare this to the natal chart. In other words, for example, in my case, I have a conjunction between Saturn and Uranus. And this means that whenever in the transits there is any aspect between Saturn and Uranus, it will resonate somehow with me. And for me, this might be more important than for other people who don't have such aspect. So this is especially important for the slower planets. So Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because their aspects are longer. You can do it with the faster planets as well, but first, you might be overwhelmed, especially at the beginning. Second of all, with the slower planets, it's a short-term influence for a couple of days. So usually not life-changing. But for the social, Jupiter, Saturn, and the outer, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, to know what aspects you have between them in your chart, and then to be aware when in the transits in the sky we have any type of aspect between the same planets, this is really, really helpful. For example, next year, it was April, I believe, the 20th of April, we will have a conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus. Very interesting aspect, happens once in 14 years. Check if you have an aspect in your natal chart, any aspect, especially if it's a conjunction. Of course, it will be even more important, but it could be any other aspect. For you, this period will resonate more. So this is one thing which is, I would say, very simple. You don't need much knowledge or calculations for that. The other thing, very traditional transits to natal planets is always, and of course, there are nuances there. I will demonstrate more during the next few days when we have the practice with prediction. Secondary progressions, my absolutely favorite method. It's like a whole life story. You can find your life story there. One thing also to add. Your natal chart or anyone's natal chart shows you the potential. But be aware that this potential unfolds in time. So, in other words, you might be at your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, or even more, your 70s. And some of the things may not have surfaced yet. may not have been unfolded for you. So don't think that everything is active and available to us right away. Some of the potentials we have in the chart are being unfolded in time. That's true for all of us. And one of the ways to explore how this happens, how this development, how this unfolding happens, is through exploring the secondary progressions. So extremely interesting, informative method, especially if you want to understand more about inner cycles, inner processes, development, growth, evolution. This is your method. Solar return charts, they are used for 1 year predictions. So more practical, more concrete. Yeah, but again, they have their place and you can use them. Okay, so now I will present to you the new course that we are about to start. And after that, I will let you know also how you can get a free reading live with me. So this astrology training will be specifically focused on development and progress. And yes, it will start from AB. So if you are just getting started with astrology, or you want to make sure that you get the foundation, that you are not missing on anything, this will be included. So even for complete beginners, it will teach you everything you need to know. If you already have experience, this is the system that you can rely on. So it will give you those foundational blocks which are essential. But the main focus will be development and progress. So not just to see, oh, okay, I have moon squaring Saturn or whatever, or okay, Saturn is in my 6th house. And it means that, and that's the end. No, our focus will be how we can develop from there, how we can grow and evolve. Like this, again, is very much connected to the spiritual levels. So no fluff, no empty positive phrases, and also no scary sentences. So we will explore everything from each angle. Yes, again, we are open to the challenges, but we will search what are the constructive things, how we can use different indications. Yes, all the knowledge and skill you need to make meaningful astrology analysis and predictions. And here you can also read, astrology is the best tool to define not only your blind spots, sabotaging your development. This is really important, but also what is the fastest way to grow and to achieve the things that you want, to progress. Who is this training for? People who want to learn astrology as a tool for self-exploration. So if you want to understand more about yourself, especially the subconscious things, the blind spots, the blind zones, the shadow, this is the place for you. If you're interested in transformation, so learning how to outgrow those, learning how to move on, how to progress, also, this is the place for you. If you want to be a professional astrologer and not just a mediocre astrologer, but to be the top 1%, this is also the place for you. So we will explore this system and foundation, which will allow you to do more than the free softwares are offering. If you want to learn astrology, or if you're ready to learn how to use astrology to predict one's life path. So again, this is not just to see the chart as something static, but to see how it grows. It means, where is the flow coming from? Here we use past life charts and prenatal new moons and cycles. This is how you can go deeper than the obvious layer. So where is the flow coming from? Of course, the chart itself is foundational, but then also to learn to see how this unfolds with time, how it develops. And again, a hint here, secondary progressions are the best tool you can use. Transit can also help, but secondary progressions, that's how you can see the dynamic in time. So if you want to be able not to see things only statically, but where things come from and what is the general flow, that's exactly what we will be doing. And also, if you are generally interested in development and growth and progress, this is also the training for you. We have 2 modules. So the training will have 2 modules. You can sign up for one of them, first or second, or for both of them. It's completely your choice. Module 1 is about the natal chart, specifically focused again on development and progress. So here you will get the technical, the foundational things, all the knowledge, all the information, how to interpret the chart, but again, from this perspective, for potential growth, for progress, and to see things again in dynamic. I won't go into all of the details because it's a very long list of what it includes, but generally speaking, the general frame of the chart, so the big things, the big picture, so it's more like the middle level, the building blocks. So as we said, the signs, the planets, the aspects, all of that. So we will explore each of those levels. We will talk about psychological principles, which are important, spiritual principles. So one of the really important focuses would be to define this level of spiritual development. And of course, how to put everything together. One of the most important things. How module 1 will work. So first of all, you will get immediate access to more than 50 hours of pre-recorded classes. They include all of the natal astrology theory, and after each lesson, there is an example, a practice lesson. So we study something, we explore the theory, and then right after that, you get a class on, and you see how it works with the real chart. So practice immediately after the theory. And we use the charts of famous people, basically. So you get immediate access to that. In addition to it, we will have also weekly live classes for 8 months. In those live classes, we will talk more about advanced theory. We will spend most of the time also on real practice with real charts. You can ask all of your questions. And of course, we will continue moving together. This class will start on the 9th of December. And for now, the expected time is Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. And you will have those recordings of the pre-recorded classes and the live classes until the end of 24. So obviously, if you can't join live or you miss something, you can always come back and watch what you need to watch. The second module is about prediction. So here we will explore transits, secondary progressions, solar return charts, the pre-story, in other words, prenatal new moon charts, prenatal also past life charts. So you will learn to see how this affects also the person in dynamic. And again, I want to accentuate that the main focus will be development and progress. So not just to be able to see, you know, like, okay, this year you can change your job, or you can travel, or You can have a child. I'm not undervaluing. This is important, but it's much more interesting and important also to be able to see the big picture when someone is going, where their general flow is going. And that's what we will focus. The other things, honestly, they're simpler. Like you will learn to do this, how to see potential marriage, potential kid, change of jobs, and all of those like events. That's honestly not complicated. You will learn to do that. What's more interesting is to be able also to see the general development and progress. And this will be also part of our training. How this works also. Weekly online classes for 8 months. We will explore all of the theory and the practice during those sessions, usually Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern, which may change. Occasionally we'll see. And you get, again, access to the recordings. Now, what makes the training different and special? First of all, you get the pre-recorded classes. For someone like me, for example, I think this is a great advantage because, for example, my mind is very active. And when I'm interested in something, I want and I can process information really fast. So if you want to have access to all the theory right away, please, that's exactly there for you. So you can watch those classes as fast and as soon as you want to. So it totally depends on you. If you want to postpone them and come back later, also totally possible. At the same time, you also have the live classes. So the live flow is very important. That's how we grow as a group. You can ask your questions, we will practice, we will add more advanced theory. So from one side, you do everything based on your terms and your rhythm with the pre-recorded classes, and yet you're also part of a live flow with the weekly classes. Option for never-ending support and community. This is one of the most important things I have tried, and finally I figure out how to create. So when you sign up for the training, you have 8 months of those weekly live classes. And after that, we will have an ongoing, never-ending community support and meetings if you want to continue growing. This will be a yearly membership for a minimal fee. So probably it would be something like $100 per year. And this will not end. So it won't be just for a few months. It won't be for a year. You can keep participating. You can have your membership. And this will give you access also to the other videos and to bi-weekly meetings. So twice a month. So this is, I think, the best option for ongoing support. You can always come back. So if you need more time to watch old classes, to catch up with materials, whatever, something happens, you need to put your focus somewhere else, totally fine. You can come back anytime and keep asking your questions and receiving support and additional knowledge. The structure of the training is also unique. Again, as I said, we will be focused on learning how to put everything together. The innovative approach is also very important for me, that those trainings will be resource oriented. So we are not reading our sentences, what was put for us, and we just need to get through. No, that's not the approach. We will learn how to do the best and how to outgrow. Not through denying things, not through fighting with things or yourself, but just by finding the best strategies. So this is one of the important principles of the training, that it would be resource-oriented. And I think I said this already, understanding the main life flow. So not to see the chart as something static, but to see the whole dynamic. One more thing also, for people who pass the training, learn the material, and are successfully certified, in other words, you really learn the stuff and you can use them, you will also get the opportunity to be promoted. So I will personally have interviews with you if you want to, like none of that is obligatory, you just have this option. Interviews, podcasts with me, and you will have a platform or a way to promote your work, to share your ideas and all of that. So this is also, I think, incredible opportunity if you want to grow professionally as an astrologer. And one more thing. So as we said, you can sign up either for module 1, module 2, or both. And if you decide to sign up for both of the modules, you get additional bonuses. You will get another training on relationship astrology. It includes 12 classes, or it's 12 hours. I don't remember how many classes, but it's 12-hour training specifically on relationship astrology, and another one on karmic astrology. So you are getting this as a bonus if you decide to sign up for both of the trainings. And one more very special bonus. If you sign up for both of the modules, which is the date I have written here, 24th. What day is today? So until November 24th. So you have, I think, 3 days. And you choose the one-time payment option, you will get a very special reading with me. I call this a life map. So it includes a birth time rectification, very helpful if you want to go deep into your chart, plus 90-minute, or it could even be longer sometimes, reading with me, which is focused on understanding this how to say that, like the pre-flow. So the prenatal new moon, where things are coming from, the initial flow, the general topics of your chart, and also the dynamic for 10 years. So the evolutionary path. So this is a very deep, explorative reading. And the regular price for this is $500. So if you sign up for both of the modules and you choose the one-time payment option for the next 3 days, I think, you get this additional $500 bonus. So I think this is a pretty interesting journey. I would love for you to join us. If you have any questions, of course, you can always contact me. If you want to sign up, we will add the links below later. So please find more information and sign up if you feel like this is your time. And finally, I think I should have, here is are the dates correct here? Yes, they are correct. So don't forget that we have 5 more live meetings. Here are the dates, 22nd, 23rd, and next week. I think it's again Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or something like that. But those are the dates. Join me live again, and you can get a live reading with me, because during those upcoming sessions, we will have, let me go back to the list. So here are our topics. Tomorrow, we will talk about the different spiritual levels. So I will share with you some of the basic ideas. Then the day after, we'll talk about the past. So prenatal new moons, how to interpret them, what is the meaning, and so on. You can see the program here. But also during each of those days, I will do a demonstration. So I will do a reading. And if you are interested, if you want to participate, if you want me to read your chart as an example for free, please join us live. And you can get this option. So if you have any questions, let me see, can I? Yes, I can see your questions here. Or actually, I don't even need the presentation. I can also do. What did I do? Yes. So let me know if you have any questions or if you want to learn something else. And don't forget to join us during the following days. The classes will be recorded, so you can also watch them later. Or even if you're watching this video at a later point, the upcoming recordings will be available for you too. I feel like solar returns are so confusing, and I'm never sure at what point to apply the solar return theme to the solar arcs and professions or progressions. Yes, well, that also takes time and experience. You can learn to do that. The solar return charts, they give you more like perspective for 1 year, like concrete focuses. But they are not as deep as, for example, the secondary progressions. Is there a website to find out past life charts? No, there isn't. There isn't, from what I know. So, but I will show you how you can calculate those. It's not that complicated, actually. So join me. I think we said tomorrow. I think it was tomorrow. Join me and you will see how you can do it. Not that complicated. How to interpret it, that's another story. But the actual calculation is not difficult. Would we get certified as astrologers? You have the option. So people who learn the material will be able to get certified, but there will be some requirements. So you need to pass certain tests or some kind of example chart reading. So the certification will mean something. It won't be just an empty sheet. So yes, you will be able, and it will mean something. How will we get free chart reading when we join? So I will choose someone. Of course, I won't be able to read everyone's charts. So we will choose live with you. And someone will be able to, we'll see how we'll do it technically. My desire is to be able to, like, you will share with me if you want to participate, if you want me to read your chart. And then when we pick who that will be, I will try, if possible, to invite you to join me on Zoom here. So we'll see, like, technically how it will happen, but that's what I will try and I would like to do. The duration, I don't know. We'll see. So I'm not limiting myself, honestly. We'll see. An hour, 90 minutes, probably something like that. But again, we won't follow the minute. Which Jung titles were good to read? Oh boy, so many. He has so many things, and honestly, some of them are not easy to read. Like here is some of my Jung stuff, and I think, and also here. He has lots and lots of stuff, like collective work in many volumes. So you can find some kind of summaries also. This is very helpful. And I will try to prepare also probably for our main course, like a reading list of some recommendations. For example, this one, the red book, this is also his thing, but no, this thing, the red one, also one of the masterpieces, but it's not easy to read, like it's pretty specific. So he has lots of things, but I would say some kind of collective work, if you can find where it's also very helpful. So we won't be interpreting now concrete indications. I've often wondered why I love astrology so much, but you answered it right at the beginning when you said 5th house. That's where my Uranus is, 6th house Saturn. I think I got my answer. Yes, exactly. And Saturn with Uranus is also a great combination for science. So to really learn astrology in a systematic way, especially if one of those planets has a connection with your Mercury or Moon or Sun, and especially if both of them have such a connection, then great. But yes, Uranus in 5th. And overall, strong 5th house is essential for success, by the way, but that's another topic for another time. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited. So we will have 5 meetings together. And we will practice. So if you want to get a free reading and have a particular question or something, so we'll figure it out tomorrow how to do it best. But it will be helpful for everyone. So there will be some theory part. So I will show you some ideas how to approach things. I will explain some general concepts. Then we'll use someone's chart as a learning example. Obviously, it will be helpful for the person, but also for everyone else to see how you do it in reality. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. And you can also ask your questions tomorrow. We will put the links below. So if you are interested, again, you can sign up for the training